Hi, my name is Rahul, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the mentorship program, the course Awaken the King Within. So, since last couple of months, I have been building and I've been working on this new course. And this new course is not something which is related to dating. This is not related to pickup or game or online dating or texting, but this is related to your personal development as a man. This is related to your inner self, how to bring your most masculine self out, how to bring your best self out. And I am making this video to tell you the details about the course and what we are going to do in the course and what are going to be the different things that we are going to talk about in the course. So this is basically like me explaining and going through the contents of the course. What is going to be the content? What is going to be the context? What are you going to get out of it? Okay. And if you have any more doubts, then please connect with me on the phone or on text. I will get back to you and I'll try to answer all the doubts that you have. Okay. So let's start. So awakening the king within. Okay. What is this course about? What am I going to teach you? What am I going to talk to you about in this course? So I'm just going to go through the entire presentation. And at the end of it, you're going to get a complete understanding and a good idea of what I'm trying to do in this course. So first of all, if you are into personal development, if you are into self-help of any kind, right? If you are into spirituality, if you are into psychology, if you are into dating, if you are into, fitness or anything that you want to do in life, anything that you want to achieve in life, if you are into any kind of personal development, self-help, personal improvement, right? Kind of work, then you would have already known this, that we are all subjected to conditioning from the moment we are born. We live in our life in the matrix. The point of personal development is to break free from the matrix and become who we really ought to be, become who we really are. This is the point of personal development. Okay. So all these things are very cliche. On social media, you will be seeing these things as take the red pill and have this life, and take the blue pill and have this life, right? Take the blue pill and uh, just continue living the life as society has described for you, or take the red pill and take your own journey and develop and build your own journey. So these are some cliche things that we all hear on social media. We all hear in different people's speeches, different YouTube videos. But in this course, we are going to talk about that. We are going to understand what is breaking free from the matrix. What does it mean by breaking free from the social conditioning that we have been a part of? So we have all unconscious biases and unconscious forces that guide our life. We don't get to choose our identity. It is just stamped on us. For example, we don't get to choose our DNA, what kind of genes we are going to have. We don't get to choose our parents, how healthy, how mature, and how understanding they are going to be, and how they are going to treat us. What are they going to teach us, right? We don't choose our country. We don't choose our gender. We don't choose our abilities or our talents or our special skills, the natural innate talents or the God-given talents. We don't choose them. We don't choose our fears. We don't choose our desires, our surroundings, our biases, our beliefs, our identity, etc. We don't choose at what point of time we are going to be born, right? The point is that an average man or an average woman lives most of their life almost completely unconsciously, right? They are completely all the time in an autopilot mode. Everything that they have done yesterday, they are going to do today, and they're going to do the same thing tomorrow. And this is not just about, we are not just talking about some random people out there. We are not just talking about some people who don't have any idea of what's happening in the life. I'm talking about me and you also. We both, being human beings, being people, we both, can face this problem. We both can be subjected to this problem that we are living our life unconsciously, right? Whatever impulses we have, We just go with the impulses. Whatever desires we have, we just go with the desires. Whatever thoughts we have, whatever feelings that we have, we just go with the feelings. We don't know where they're coming from, right? We don't know how to control them, how to manipulate them, how to use them, how to integrate them. So an average man or woman lives most of their life almost completely unconsciously. They are in an autopilot mode, a zombie like existence. They are like a leaf blowing in the wind with no control of their lives, with no direction, with no place to go, with no structure, right? With no map on which they can travel, no understanding of the journey that they are going to take, right? They are like a leaf blowing in the wind with no control over their lives. Life happens to them. They don't live life to the max, controlled by the subconscious forces that we don't understand. That these people, that everybody, we don't really understand how these forces are shaping us, right? How these forces are acting us in our life. See, when we are kids, when we are small kids, like, 5 years, 10 years old, 15 years old, then this is not a very big problem of our life, right? In the first half of our life, you can say till the point we graduate from college and we start living our own life, everything is taken care of, right? If we have any needs, if we have any problems, we just go to mom and dad and be like, hey mom, hey dad, I have this problem, can you help me out of this? And they help you out of this, right? They love you unconditionally. Even if there is something wrong with you, even if there are parts of you that needs more growth, that need more development, they're just going to be like, no, no, you are good the way you are, you are perfect the way you are. Okay, because they love you the way you are, because you are their child, you are their son or daughter, you are their child, and they just love you unconsciously for who they are, for who you are. It can also happen opposite, right? You can also have parents that don't love you, that don't accept you the way you are. They're always putting pressure on you to change, to develop, to grow, to mature early. They're always like belittling you, they're always like scolding you, they're always beating you, they're always ignoring you, abandoning you, and all of these things happen, right? But still, to a certain extent, in our lives, when in the first part of our life, the first 20 years of, or 25 years of our life, things are pretty much structured, right? For the first, 1 2 3 years, you learn how to talk, you learn how to walk, you understand who your dad is, who your mom is, who your granddad is, who your brothers are, who your sisters are. This is the first 2 3 4 years of our life. Then after that, we join school, and in school what happens is a lot of new information is thrown at us. We start learning about the world, we start learning about things like language, literature, we start learning like simple maths problems, we are exposed to a new territory of play, right? So when you go into school, something very interesting happens that has never happened with you, is that now you're not in the supervision of your parents and your family. Now you are in a school, in a classroom where there might be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 other boys and girls. And now you have to make friends on their own, right? Now you have to go and take control of who you want to be friends with, right? What do you want to do? What kind of games do you want to play, right? Your teachers are there, are going to be there to guide you, but they're not going to guide you personally like your parents do, right? They're not concerned about you as a human being, they're not concerned about you as their own child, because they're teachers, it's their job. It's not their job to parent you, it's your parents' job to parent you, right? But when you go into the school, you start to learn how to socialize. You are socialized in school, you are institutionalized in school, right? You are taught how to follow the rules and regulations, right? So you are basically being conditioned and trained from a very young age, right? Till the moment you start to walk, you start to talk, you are you are told what is good, what is bad. Like, if you do this, you're going to be a good boy. If you do that, you're going to be a bad boy. Everybody's going to hate you. If you do this, everybody's going to love you, right? So this happens in the first part of our life, right? So when we go to school, we kind of are just left alone without any understanding of what to do, without any proper understanding of who to make friends with, what kind of games to play, what to learn. We don't understand what is relevant to us and what is not relevant to us, right? But it's an important part, because it is the first time in our life that we are learning to be self-dependent. We are learning to be self-reliant. So for the first couple of years in school, let's say, in the first till your like nursery to class 10th, the first like junior school or high school, you basically are learning new things about the world. You are basically learning a couple of languages so that you can communicate with other people. You are learning things like mathematics, chemistry, biology about the world, about history, about some rules and regulations of the world. So you're basically understanding what the world is. This is the time when your worldview is being formed. This is the time when your personality is being formed. Since the age of 0 to, I think, 10 or 12, before you hit your teenage, right? Your personality is being formed up by all the forces, by your society that you live in, by the culture around you, by the religion that your parents follow or that you are going to follow, uh, by the school that you went to, what kind of teachers you have, what kind of friends you have, what kind of siblings you have, what kind of family do you have, right? All of these things are building up your personality. They are building up your character. They're building up who you are as a person. So the first, you can say 12 years of life, you are just constantly developing, right? You are developing at a very, very rapid pace. You go from being this small, right? You go from being this small to a person who can go to school on himself, by himself, by herself. You learn how to write, you learn how to speak, you learn how to solve problems, you become competitive, you learn how to play different sports, you learn how to play different games, you understand the world a little bit more, you understand how to read emotions of other people, you understand how to read your place in the society, you understand what is money, you understand all of things. All of these things, like majority of the things that you're learning, you're going to learn from the age 0 to 12, right? And these are the things that are going to guide your life. And then when you go into high school or when you go into college and then you pass out college, then you get into a job. Again, you are thrown into a completely new territory. You are thrown into deep waters, right? Because so far you have been at the first part of life, like let's say from 0 years to 3 years or 4 years old, you have lived in the supervision of your parents. The second part of your life, you have lived under the supervision of your school, of your college, of your teachers, right? But once you pass out college, now there is no supervision. Now all the background, all the, like all the safety net has been taken away from you. When you pass college, you are just supposed to know how to live life, right? Because when you pass college, symbolically and you can say metaphorically, this is a very important stage in your life, because you are supposed to be now self-dependent. You need to have your own job, you need to work on your own job, you need to maintain your own job, you need to maintain your own house, you need to maintain your own health, you need to maintain your own new relationships that are not blood relationships, right? That are not family relationships. You need to maintain your emotional stability, you need to maintain your mental ability, mental stability. All of these new things are thrown onto you. And this is the point where a lot of people start kind of, going astray from the path. They start to go kind of here and there. They start to lose their way. This is the point when you are left alone after the college ends or when you start doing a job. This is the point a lot of people start developing things like, let's smoke. A lot of people also do this in college, but majority of the people start, like smoking, drinking, doing drugs, when they start to kind of pass out from college and get into their job or financial side of the life, because the structure that was guiding their life has been taken away. The structure of parents, the structure of family, the structure of institutions such as school or college is taken away. Now you are no longer a child, you're no longer a boy, right? Now no longer is nobody is going to, like sit beside you and help you how to solve your own problems. You have to become a problem solver, you have to solve your own problems. And since there is no direction after this, you're just thrown out into the unknown, you're just thrown out into the jungle, and people expect you to know how to survive, how to live your life. You're just thrown out into the deep water. Like you are just like a person who has just learned how to swim, and he is thrown into the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right? This is how we feel. We felt abandoned, we felt thrown, we felt like, like the safety net has been taken away. So this is the reason for our anxiety, this is the reason for our depression, this is the reason for a lot of people kind of giving up a lot of their hopes and dreams and just becoming a slave to the corporate structure, to the world, to the financial world, right? Because if they're not going to be enslaved by the financial world, by their jobs, by their bosses, then who are they going to be slaved by? They have to be something's slave. They have to be somebody's slave. You cannot be without any rules and regulations, right? We cannot live without any rules and regulations. For example, let's say that if I take you, and if I take a newborn baby and I put him in the middle of the jungle, right? For example, like Tarzan, right? Or if you have watched the movie, The Jungle Book, then there is a guy who was thrown into the jungle. His name was Mowgli. Or the same thing happens with Tarzan, right? Do you think that he will be able to survive? Do you think that he will be able to understand what kind of foods to eat? Do you think that he will be able to understand, where to sleep, what is safe, what is not unsafe? Do you think he will be able to understand what is morality, what are ethics, how to chase his goals? He will not be able to understand that he has higher goals, right? Because our goals are built into the society that we live in. Without the structure and without the infrastructure of the society, our goals have no context. For Tarzan, becoming a computer science engineer or becoming a billionaire doesn't make sense, because in his world, money does not exist. In his world, capitalism does not exist, right? So your dreams, your goals, your ambitions are all interrelated to the society that we live in. And you always have to be a slave of the society. Not a slave, but you can think that you are kind of bounded by society. You cannot break out of societal norms because you don't know anything else. This is how you are born and brought up. You don't know what it is like to be a lion. You don't know what it is like to be a caveman that used to live 5,000, 10,000 years ago. You don't know what it is because you have never seen that. You have never experienced that. You can only imagine. You can only imagine these things, right? In the same way, when you're thrown out after the college into the real world is not very safe place. The real world is crazy. The real world is a little bit dangerous. It's scary, right? In the real world, if you fuck up, you are going to have repercussions. Nobody's going to be like, it's okay, you made a mistake. No, I'll give you another chance. No. If you fuck up in the real world, you are going to face the consequences of that. So when we go into the real world, and this is the time by which people start to understand that, okay, they have to develop themselves. They have to build themselves internally and externally. They have to understand themselves better, and they have to kind of become a better and more stronger, more intelligent, more wise version of themselves. They have to become a better person. They have to become a better individual. This is the time when they start realizing that. And they start working on, they start reading books to get an idea of how other successful people lived, and how can I also live so that I can reach to the height of my potential. I can reach my full potential. I can reach my highest self, right? But still, what is lacking when you are thrown out into the real world is a structure, like what to do, how to develop yourself. What is the first thing you are supposed to work on? What is the second thing you are supposed to work on? We lack a process of development. So these are some of the root problems. And in this course, in this mentorship, we are going to be talking about all these root problems, right? And these kind of root problems, they are the source of things like existential crisis, anxiety, not being able to learn properly, not being able to have self-drive or self-motivation, things like you become depressed, or you kind of just lose the way. You kind of get lost in the jungle, right? So this is the root problem. And in the course Awakening the King Within, what we are going to talk about is we are going to talk about awakening and getting in touch with your best self, understanding your best self. right? Your king personality. We are going to understand, and we are going to do exercises, and we are going to see how to practically integrate yourself into your ego, how to practically integrate your ego and yourself together, so that you're not just bound by your ego, you're not just controlled by your ego, but you can get your ego to work for you, right? And you can reap all the benefits of your inner self. We are going to learn how to integrate the masculine and the feminine energies inside of you, the yin and the yang, right? The anima and the animus. We are going to understand how to do that. We are going to understand how to integrate the man inside you and the beast inside you, the animal parts of you, right? Which is your biology and which is your consciousness. We are going to understand how to do all this. So basically, this course is going to be about becoming your most balanced self. And here I'm going to offer you some analogies to help. So let's say this is self one and this is self two. You know, self one is right now who you are. You're not satisfied with your life. You're not satisfied with who you are. You're not satisfied with your belief systems, your personality, your character. You're not satisfied with what you have achieved in life, right? So this is self one, where you are right now, where, you know, a lot of people are right now, where I was also a couple of years ago. And I will not say that I have completely reached to self two. I'm still in the journey. And this is a lifelong journey, right? Because the thing about having an ideal is that you can never achieve your ideal, right? You can never achieve your ideal. The more you grow, the more you will want to grow. The stronger you grow, the more stronger you will want to grow. The more smart you become, the more smarter you will want to become. The more attractive you become, the more attractive you want to become, right? So this is a forever process. This is not a process that will take you 3 months or 3 years or 10 years. This is going to take your entire life, right? I'm always going to want to learn something more. I always going to want to have a new car. I want to have more money, want to have a stronger relationship with my people. I will always want to have a better understanding of myself. I will always want to have a more stronger and more stable psychology and mentality and mindsets, so that I can keep achieving everything that, you know, on the way that come. So this is self one. This is self one, which is ignorant, which is living in illusion, which is conditioned, which is controlled by biases, which is controlled by unconscious forces, right? So this is self one. This is the area, this is the part of, you know, this is, you can say, the state of unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence is a state where you are where you are unconscious about what you don't know. You don't even know that you suck, right? You don't even know how bad of a situation you are in. This is self one, right? So let's talk about self one. Let's say that there is a person, right? There is a guy, there is a small boy, right, who wants to become a footballer, who wants to become, you know, a pro footballer, somebody who can play in the leagues, somebody who can play in the state level or the national level or the international level, right? So the self one, which is the novice footballer, he just is interested in football, right? He just is interested in football. He is just thinking about learning football, and he's just dreaming about being a football player once, right? What he does is he realizes at some point of life that he is not a very good footballer. It is very important for him to realize that he is not very good. He can realize this in some ways. For example, if he goes and plays with other people, right? And if he has never played football, he is not going to be confident. He is not going to be decisive. He is not going to be sure of himself, right? And he will see other people completely busting him out. He will see other people completely destroying him, right? He will not be able to do anything. He does not understand how to pass the football. He doesn't understand how to receive the football. He doesn't understand the rules of the football. He doesn't understand what his own capabilities are and where he should be. Should he be a goalkeeper, or should he be, you know, a defender or a midfielder, or, you know, on offense? He doesn't know about all this. He doesn't know how to work as a team, how to play as a team. He might not even have the stamina or the strength to kick the football very strongly. He might not have the stamina or the endurance to run like for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, however long the game of football is going to be, right? He does not have all these things. He does not have all these things, right? So he realizes that, oh fuck man, I think I need to learn football, I think I need to learn how to play football, right? Then he goes and starts playing on a daily basis, and then he starts learning, right? Then he might be learning from YouTube. For example, when I was learning guitar and when I was learning how to play drums, I learned it from YouTube. When I was learning how to, become a little bit better singer, because so I'm not a very good singer, but I'm still much better than I was before. So the when I was learning music, obviously I, like started searching on YouTube, I started watching videos, I started doing exercises, and I started taking a lot of action. I started playing on a daily basis. Also, I made some friends who were musicians, who also taught me some tricks and some techniques to learn new things. For example, it was very hard for me to learn, the strings of the guitar. Then my friend one day gave me an acronym, right? He gave me a shortcut. He's like, bro, remember this phrase: every bad girl drinks and eat, right? Every bad girl drinks and eat. And just focus on the first letter. So EBGDAE. I'm like, fuck, that is so easy. That is so easy. Now I learned a new way of understanding guitar. Like I now understood the entire strings. Fucking easy. The same thing happened when I was trying to play drums, right? I thought that playing drums was going to be very easy. But when I first sat on the drum set, I'm like, are there going to be so many things inside here? Right? Is it supposed to be this crowded? What the fuck? There are so many things inside here, right? How do you play all these things at once? And then my friend, at that time, he was a much better drummer than me, because I knew zero about drumming. He was a much better drummer than me. He taught me, okay, this is how you set, this is the bass drum, this is the hi-hat, hold your sticks like this is the snare, these are the cymbals, and this is how you use all of them. So he kind of played in front of me and I started practicing. Then I started hanging out with more musicians. They started sharing new things, new techniques, new way of looking at the world. Like, for example, new vocabulary. They started giving me new vocabulary to look at my problems. They started helping me frame my problems better. They started helping me frame the solutions better. So these are the things that I started learning when I was learning music. And the same thing is going to happen to the person who wants to learn football, who wants to become a better footballer, right? His self one will be guided by self two. So the self two is his projection in the future, that he has now become a good football player. He wants to reach to self two, right? He wants to reach here, but he is right now here. So again, he will have to take coaching. He will have to play on a daily basis. He will have to do some endurance exercises, some strength exercises, so that he has some power behind his kicks, so that he can, because football is a rough game, so you need to maintain your physical frame when you're playing football, because a lot of people will sometimes tackle you and you can fall and you can get injured. So you need to build the strength, the endurance, the stamina, the understanding, the smartness, right, of the field, the rules and regulations, what you can do in the game, what you cannot do in the game. You need to understand what will be your best position to play, like in the forward, in the middle, or the center, or backward, or the goalkeeper. You will understand all these things as you interact more and more with the game of football, right? As you interact more and more. So your self one is where you are right now, and self two is where you want to be. Your self one is who you are right now, and the self two is who you want to be. Notice that I'm not using the word have, right? I'm not using the word have. So if I take a person who's bad in football and I just show him some tricks, right? I'm like, no, bro, don't worry. Bhai, tere ko stamina nahi chahiye. You don't need any stamina to play football. You don't need any strength. You don't need any endurance to play football, right? Just learn this 5 techniques and you will be able to play football, right? If somebody told this to you, then you would be like, yeah, shut the fuck up, right? Stop bullshitting me, right? You will automatically understand that they are bullshitting you, because learning to be a better player is not about having something. It's about developing some things from inside, right? It comes from the inside. Being a good football player, being a good guitarist, or a good drummer, or a good writer, or a good businessman, or a good, like friend, or a attractive person. It comes from, you can't have anything. It all needs to come from your within. It all needs to come from your inside, right? So things like your endurance, it's going to come from inside. You can't buy endurance from somewhere. You can't, like analytically learn endurance. You can't logically try to understand how to run. You actually have to have the ability to run, right? Physically, practically in the real world. The same thing with stamina. You can't just get stamina. You can't just borrow stamina from a friend of yours, right? The same way, like we, kind of in the dating community, we borrow lines from other people. We borrow techniques from other people. Those are not yours to use. Those are somebody else's. And if you use them, you are hampering your growth, right? For a short-term benefit. But in the long run, you are going to suffer. This is about instant gratification. You want quick result. So you are kind of shortcutting the process. You are kind of cheating the process. But in the long run, you are going to pay the price. You are going to be at a disadvantage. Okay. So being a good person, being a more successful, more attractive, more charismatic, more alpha, more grounded, smarter, wiser, more intelligent, more stable, more happy, more successful person in the future. These are the things that need to come from within. I can't give you anything. These are the things that need to come from within. Just like for a footballer, his stamina, his speed, his endurance, his strength, his durability in the ground, his understanding of his skills, right? His, teamwork, how good of a team player is he? His drive, his motivation, right? His presence of mind when the game is going, all of these things that are required for him to be a pro football player, he can't get it from outside. Other people can only tell, a coach can only tell you how to cultivate that, how to build that from inside, how to build that from within, right? You can't get it from outside, right? This is the dilemma of personal development, and this is where a lot of people are, because we human beings, we have a problem that we are writing our own story, right? Other people are not writing our own story. We are writing our own story, and we don't know what is going to happen next. So we are like, how do I write a story, right? There is a great quote that life can only be lived forward, but life can only be understood backwards, right? If you look back at your life, if you look retrospectively back at your life, then you will understand in a better way what your life is becoming, right? You can't understand life, or you can't know about life looking forward. You can only know about yourself and your life looking backwards. So life can only be lived forward, but it can only be understood backwards. This is the basic understanding. So you need to cultivate all of these things from inside you. It has to be a change of self. If you want to be a good football player, it has to be, you can't just learn new techniques and expect to be good in football or in anything in life, right? It has to be a change, a physical, mental, a literal change, not a change of understanding, not a conceptual change in your mind, right? It has to be a physical, literal change at the level of your behavior, your character, your understanding, your physical abilities, how strong your muscles are, how, like how quick are your instincts on the ground. And then only you will slowly start to move towards the self too, where you want to be, the person that you want to become in the future, right? Because all the success, all the things that you want to have will come to you as a result of the person who you are. If you are a disciplined, hardworking, smart, committed to the process, committed to one goal, committed to achieving one goal, if you are somebody like this, if you are able to take risks, if you are able to face failures and learn from your own failures, then nothing can stop you from becoming amazing. Nothing can stop you from achieving your goals. It may take sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes shorter, but you will eventually achieve your goals, because you have the drive, you have the mindfulness, you have the openness to learn new things, you have the strength to we have the strength to go through failure after failure and learn from that. You have the strength to take criticism and to build up your character. So these are all the things that come from the inside. You can't buy it, right? You can't buy it. There are different parts inside of us that we are mostly unaware of, as we have already talked before. Your biological drives, for example, sex, food, sleep, hunger, horniness, your physical pleasure can come in different forms. For example, drinking alcohol or taking drugs or smoking a cigarette or eating like a fast food, right? Or masturbating or watching porn. These can all give you physical pleasures. Then another thing which you are mostly unconscious of and you can't control is your ego, which is your identity. Because as we have talked, your identity is mostly built in the first, 12 years of your life. Your personality is mostly built in the first 12 years of life. And after that, your personality is pretty stable, right? The data, the evidence, the study, the research is very clear that you can't do a lot to change your personality. You can't completely change your personality, right? You can improve whatever personality you have to a certain extent, but even to do that, you will have to understand who you are. You have to understand your personality. Then you can slowly start to improve your personality. The same thing is with your intelligence, right? Like for example, IQ. Your IQ is something that you cannot, like massively change. You can work on your IQ and you can make your IQ like 5 points, 4 points better, but that is not a massive change, right? If your IQ is 110 or 100, you cannot make your IQ 180 or 190. It is just impossible unless and until, you know, like it's almost impossible. It is going to be an exception. If that ever happens in life, that is going to be an exception. The same thing is with your color of skin. You can't really change your color of skin ever in your entire life, right? That's another thing. If you get a disease, right, or if you get skin cancer, then that's another thing. But you naturally cannot change the color of your skin. Your height, you cannot change it. Your genes, you cannot change them. You just can't change it. So your identity, your worldview, your self-image, your ego goals, your self-projection, your insecurities, your inferiority complexes, your character traits, how you behave, how you respond to things, right? Your meaning making machine. All these things, they are a part of your ego, and we don't understand how they work, right? Like you might not understand. A lot of people don't understand how they work. Then comes your deeper subconscious parts or unconscious parts, the parts of yourself that you're not even conscious of, that you don't, I'm sorry, that you don't even know are there. Parts like your shadow self or your dark side, right? Your masculine and feminine self, and your inner personality, like the what we are talking about, the king personality, right? Or your soul or your inner self. These are the parts that we are not aware of. So these are all the parts, these are all the subcomponents that make us, right? And they're not working together right now. In your mind, in a lot of people's mind who are facing, recurring problems, some problems that are happening again and again and again in their life, they're happening because they are not able to understand or control or be aware of your biological drives, your ego drives, and your, subconscious drives. You just are not aware of that, and they're not working together. So we have no control or understanding of them. Like we don't really understand them. We have no control or understanding of them. We have no awareness of them, right? So we are mostly driven by them, and our life is guided by our ignorance, right? So if you're having, like if you're having problems like, bro, you know what? Nobody likes me. Everywhere I go, people make fun of me. On the surface level, it seems like, the natural way, like for example, the way the child would look at this problem, it is going to be a self-centered, egocentric way. He's going to think that, okay, everybody is a bad person, therefore people don't like me. People are judging me because everybody else is bad, right? A child is egocentric, but that is the exact problem that is happening with people of our generation as well. So now we have a lot of men today in our society who are man-childs, who are grown-up children, right? Who are just children in a bigger body. They are also egocentric. So if there is a problem in their life, for example, nobody likes me, nobody respects me, so they are going to automatically think, right? Because again, your biases, right? This is self-confirmation bias. We think that we are not a bad people. We always want to think of ourselves as good people. It doesn't matter if you do anything, if you even like uh, go to a jail and talk to criminals, they are going to say no, they did not do anything bad, they deserved it, right? Talk to Hitler. Like if you could talk to Hitler, Hitler would say, no, I'm not doing anything bad. He has a rationalization. I want you to remember this word because this is a word that we'll be using in the course also. We have a rationalization. We have a justification for our actions always. And our actions emerge from our emotions. Our emotions emerge from the deeper parts of ourselves. For example, your shadow, your masculine, feminine self, yourself, your ego, your biological drives, etc. Right? Your conditioned brain, everything. They generate emotions. On the basis of emotions, you take actions, and then using your logical brain, believe it or not, this is the only use of logical brain. This is the only use of logical brain to justify our emotions. Mostly human beings use their logical brains to justify their emotions, and sometimes to kind of work and be productive in the life. We don't use logic. Human beings cannot be logical. Human beings are never logical, right? Human beings cannot be logical like a computer, because then it will become impossible. It will become impossible to properly live life, right? So we are guided by our biases, right? If you are a person who is going to be like, bro, I'm trying to search for a girlfriend, but every girl that I talk to rejects me. Again, every girl that I talk to rejects me. You are going to project your insecurities onto that person. You are going to think that, okay, I did not have the enough money, I did not have enough looks, I did not have enough social status. This is the reason she didn't like me. What you're doing is you are projecting your worldview. You are projecting your biases. You are projecting your insecurities on her. You are insecure about your money, about your looks, about your status. She might not like you for a completely different reason, but you are going to think that she didn't like me because of looks, money, status. Or if you are into dating or game, you are going to be like, okay, she didn't like me because of game. I did not have enough game. But what is game? Game is the structure of your character. Game is how solid your personality is, how grounded you are in your identity, in your self-image, how balanced and healthy your ego is. What is game? This is game, right? Game is your ability to talk and communicate yourself to the other person, and then have the ability to understand the other person, right? And also have the ability to be understood by them, right? This is game, right? Game is basically a three-way, game is basically a kind of a three-side thing, right? Understanding myself, understanding the person that I'm talking to, and being understood by the person that I'm talking to, right? This is what game is. But we don't understand, because again, when we are talking to a girl, or when we are gaming, or when you're trying to date somebody, what happens is when we are talking to a girl, we are in a state of heightened emotional world. When you're talking to a girl, your emotions are going to be much more active than your thoughts. Your emotions are going to be much highly active and much more functional, and they are going to take control of you than your thoughts, right? And you'll not be able to function properly. So you can name any kind of problem that you're having in life, right? Like, my parents don't like me, I have a lot of trauma. I understand that, right? Everybody had a rough childhood. Everybody has imperfect parents. Nobody is being parented by Gautam Buddha or Jesus, right? Nobody is being parented by Ram, or like a god. We are just parented by normal people who themselves don't know. So everybody has a fucked up childhood, right? Everybody has gone through some trauma. Some people have gone through, you know more major traumas, like the seeing violence or being a part of something which is very fucked up. And some people have gone through very minor things, like being slapped by your dad. That is not a trauma. That is not a trauma at all, right? You are just labeling trauma. And then this the tendency to work on inner trauma is again the tendency to blame. Is because I have trauma, I need to work on my childhood insecurities, I need to work on my inner child, I need to work on these things. Where is it coming from? This is again coming from a place of I am perfect the way I am. Like, fuck the world, I am amazing the way I am. There must be something wrong with everybody else, right? And they fucked me, right? It's again the problem is with them. Or you're always pointing fingers, you're always blaming, you're always blaming on somebody else, you're always blaming on somebody else. And again, right now, like inner child healing, and everybody's thinking that like they had a traumatic childhood, and because of that. No, bro, not because of that. Your past is only controlling your life right now as much as you let it. You are letting your past control your life, right? You are blaming. And the reason everybody is selling it, because it's sellable, right? Obviously, if I tell you that no, nothing is wrong with your parents or the outer world, everything is imperfect, you need to work on yourself. It's hard to accept that. It's hard to understand that, because the responsibility is going to lie on your shoulders. All the weight of the change is going to lie on your shoulders. But it's much easy to blame, like, yeah, I had a fucked up childhood, I am a perfect being, I am perfect the way I am, right? I am created perfectly by God, right? I am, like, everything about me is perfect. My inner child is perfect. It already has everything. And because of some people in the past, maybe my mother, father, grandfather, grandma, uncle, aunt, my siblings, they bullied me, or I was bullied in school. Because of all these reasons, my inner perfect child, my inner child is kind of stuck, right? So I'm not able to express myself in the world. Now there is a problem that should, like, this, we have to think about these things, right? And these are some things that we're going to talk about in this course. So let's move forward. So as we talked about, that you are made up of different parts, right? Your biology, then your brain, then your emotions, your hormones, your biases that are created evolutionary, right? These are things that evolution has built inside you. Nothing is a mistake. Everything inside you, every part of your being, right, is as it should be. Every part of your biology is as it should be. So I'm again not saying that I'm perfect from within, but the way, what I'm trying to say is, like, all of these things that are inside of us, our brain, our biology, our neurochemistry, our hormones, our emotions, our biases, the way we create our identity, all of these things, they have been biologically built into us, right? They have been biologically built into us since hundreds of thousands of years, right? The first human beings, they showed up around 5 to 7 million years, and then we have just been evolving. So we have evolved to this point. So what is happening is we have a lot of amazing machinery inside our body and inside our brain, inside our mind, right? All of these things that we talked about, right? Like food, sleep, physical pleasure, your identity, your worldview, your self-image, your ego, your self-projection, your insecurities, your inferiority complex, your character traits, your personality, etc. These are the machinery that make you. These things inside you that are making you function in the world, right? These are your components. These are the parts of you. These are the smaller parts of you. and they're already purposeful. They already come inbuilt. You don't have to do anything for that, right? They have already evolved. Like nature has helped evolve you into this person with who has all of these things, right? Your shadow self, your masculine feminine self, your soul personality, or your mana personality, or your self. All these parts are already inside you, and all of these things have a purpose, right? These are your subcomponents. Just like a car has multiple subcomponents, right? So you can't just say that seats are car. You can't just say that a body is a car. You can't just say that headlight is a car. You can't just say that wheels are cars. You can't say the suspension is car. You can't just say that my engine is the car, right? All of these things have a purpose in a car. Nothing in a car is purposeless. There is nothing that is inside a car that is purposeless, that is useless. In the same way, all the machinery that we have inside of us, all the subcomponents, the subparts inside of us, they're all useful. They're all purposeful. But since we are not aware about them, we can't control them. Imagine if you sit in a car and you are not aware about the steering wheel. You don't understand what a steering wheel is, right? You'll not be able to drive the car. The first time I tried to drive a car, I did not know that there are going to be 3 pedals, like accelerator, clutch, brake. I did not know the gear system is going to be so complex. I thought that it is just going to be like a bike, right? Up, down, 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 or down, up, 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 up. I just thought that that's just like in a motorcycle, the way things work. The same thing are going to be in the car. So I was not even aware of that. If I'm not aware of that, I can't learn that. If I can't learn that, I can't control it, right? So if I am not aware that I have a steering wheel, if I'm not aware that my car has an AC, if I'm not aware that my car has a gearbox, then I'll always be driving in the first gear. And I'll always be complaining, why am I not doing good in life? Why am I not going fast? What is stopping me in life? All of these things. You know, there is a game, there is a very popular game, Need for Speed Most Wanted. So when I started playing this game, I did not even know that I could go to the, I can go to the shop and I can customize my car. I can have better engines. I can buy better parts. I can make my car more powerful. I did not even know that. I did not even know that, like there is something called as nitrous. And I was just playing the game without nitrous, without updated cars, the same stock car, right? The same car that came in the stock version. I'm wondering, why am I losing all the races? What's wrong with me? I'm wondering what is wrong, like what is stopping me from winning? Why are they so fast? Is this game fucked up? This is a bad game. I don't want to play this game because this game is rigged against me. Now you see again how blaming the entire society comes. Since I am not aware that I can improve and I can customize and I can improvise my own car, I am blaming the lack of this potential on the society. I'm projecting this lack of myself on the society, that they lack something, right? That they did not make a good enough game. But the reality was, Need for Speed Most Wanted is an amazing game, right? It's one of the best games. Like when I was a kid, when I was in school and college, it was an extremely popular game. It was my ignorance that made me a bad player when I started playing Most Wanted. It was not that the game was bad. So it is your ignorance that is stopping you from moving forward, not the trauma, not your childhood memories or childhood experiences, not because somebody rejected you or somebody broke up with you in your life, not because some people bullied you. I understand that all of these things affect, but we have to understand how to use this as a fuel, right? So let's imagine, this is going to be an exercise. Let's imagine that we are about to build a supercar, you and me, okay? We are a team, we have some other team, we have some programmers, we have some mechanics, we have all the parts, right? Somebody gave us all of these parts. And they're like, okay, we have to build a supercar. So in order to build a supercar, the first thing we need to understand is our car needs to perform at its max potential. Our car needs to, you know, like go run at its maximum potential. It has to be very powerful. It has to have good handling. It has to have good aerodynamics. It has to have a good steering system. It has to have good suspension. It has to have a great body, because so that it is aerodynamic, so that we can move at its top speed, right? But if we are unaware about a part, if we are unconscious about a part, for example, let's say we make the car and we are not aware that we also have to apply brakes in the car, what is going to happen? The person who will drive the car is going to bump the car somewhere and he's going to die. There will be a crash and he is going to be injured, or he will die. If you're in a supercar and the supercar has no brakes, dude, you are going to die, right? So we have all these parts that are given to us by nature, right? So I'm just taking the car as an analogy, right? So we have all these parts just that are given to us by nature and evolution, but we are not aware of them. More than that, we are not aware of the relationship between them. If you are going to, like if you are putting wheels on an engine, you have to understand the relationship between wheels, the engine, the suspension, the body, the aerodynamics, the brakes, everything. Everything has to be interconnected. Everything has to have a relationship, everything else, right? Everything relates to everything else in a car. Like your steering wheel and how good your tires are, they're relatable. If you have a brand new car and a very good steering wheel and a very good suspension, but if your tires are extremely old and they're flat, then you can't blame your steering wheel, right? Then you can't blame your suspension, then you can't blame your transmission. You have to be aware that there is something which is not working properly and you have to change that part. So we are like supercars. We have a ton of potential. We have a lot of amazing, very powerful machinery that is given to us by nature, by evolution. But since our internal parts are not working together, and also we are not aware of them, we don't understand the relationship between them, we fail to achieve our highest self or our highest potential. Just like in a car, every part serves a purpose. Similarly, inside of us, every different parts serve a purpose. My ego, my identity, my biases, myself, my shadow, my insecurities, my masculine, feminine self, right? The animalistic side of myself or the primitive side of myself, right? The lizard brain that I have, and the conscious side of myself, the consciousness, the man inside me, right? All need to work together. My short-term memory, my long-term memory, like psychologically speaking, everything needs to work together in an interrelated, in an intersynchronized, in an interdependent fashion, so that we can perform at its best. Just like a car, every part serves a purpose. Similarly, inside of us, even our body, right? That your heart pumps the blood, and then your lungs oxygenate the same blood, right? Then your kidneys filter the same blood out, and then you take in food. That food is as fuel, and then your like stomach digests the food. It takes out all the nutrients from the food, and then it sends into the blood. Then the heart pumps the blood again, and then it is oxygenated again by the lungs. So you see how everything is working together. Your heart, your brain, your nerves, your blood, your skeleton system, your muscles, everything is working together in your physical body. In the same way, in your mental world, in your mental mind, inside your consciousness, all of these things are there, but we are not aware of it, right? We are controlled by it. There is nothing inside us that is useless, because that's how evolution works, right? Like, why don't we still have the canines? Why don't we still have the claws, right? Why don't we still have that? Because it was not needed. And what is not needed and what is not useful will be thrown out, will be completely eliminated by evolution. will be eliminated by nature, right? So whatever part of you that doesn't serve a purpose will be eliminated by nature. So everything inside of us has a purpose. Everything inside of us is very powerful machinery that we are not aware of, and we don't understand the relationship in between each other. Evolution works in such a way that useless parts are automatically discarded and they are automatically removed. Okay. So this was the introduction of the entire course. And now we are going to take a look at what are the parts of ourselves, and then what is the map, or what is the way, or what is the path that we need to walk on in order for this to be a great experience, in order for us to achieve and maximize our full potential. Now, the first thing I'm going to start off is that whatever you do in life, you need a process. Okay. If you're building a business, you need a process. The first thing is you need to understand what product you want to build, right? Or what kind of market you want to serve, or what kind of opportunity you want to grab, or what kind of problem do you want to solve in the market. According to that, you are going to understand what kind of product to build. And once you understand the product and the market, then you will understand how to advertise and how to market, right? And then you will get other people to sell the product for you. You are going to give them a salary, and the product is going to make some profit, and you're going to scale the business. And that's how business works, right? How does anything work? Like, for example, in dating, we talk about the process, right? Like, everybody knows this process. Like, first you go approach, you take somebody's attention, you open, and after you have opened, you then attract and build value and show personality. Then you vibe, and then you build comfort and connection and physical connection, and then you lead, and then you close, right? This is the process. There's a definite process for everything. If I want to build my physical body, if I want to get more muscles, if I want to become stronger, then I have to start going to the gym like 3 to 5 days in a week. I have to start monitoring my diet, and I have to start small, and then I have to build up, right? I have to start with easy, light exercises. Then I have to build. Everything has a process. My throat is so dry right now. So yeah, everything is a process. And if we don't understand the process, right, then what we are going to fall into is chaos. When we are talking to a person, this is how we talk. We first introduce ourselves, right? And we are taught this as children. We introduce ourselves, then we, like, talk and try to build the conversation. Then we get to know each other on a deeper level. Then we make some plans, and then we do it repeatedly, and we become friends, right? The same thing in dating. You open, you attract, you vibe, then you close. The same thing in marketing, right? You first take attention, then you create interest, then you have a desire, then you have action, right? All the things. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a process, not purpose. Everything has a process, right? If we don't have this process, then we are just going to be lost. Because let's say, for an example, if we don't have a process of talking to somebody, right? Or if you don't have a process of starting your own business, imagine if you are the first person starting your own business. You will have to try everything, right? You will have to try everything. Like, okay, there are so many markets. There are hundreds of thousands of millions of different kind of markets. There are millions and billions of products, right? There are tons of different ways of marketing, of advertising. There are tons of different ways of branding yourself. If you don't have a process, then you're just going to be lost. You're just going to be lost because the reality as it is explosive. It's chaotic in nature. It's infinite in nature. Like, there's a term for it, which is combinatorial explosion. Let me write it so that you can look at the term. So this term is combinatorial explosion, right? What is combinatorial explosion? For example, you are at a place A and you want to be at a place B. There can be a lot of directions to it, right? Everything will lead to something else, right? Everything will lead to something else. Every branch is going to have more branches inside of it. And finally, after some time, something is going to connect. I'm sorry, this is very slow. This is not a blackboard, so there you can get lost anywhere, right? This is the path where we have to go. This is also a path that we can take. We can go from here, then we can go from here, right? But this path is just going to lead to a dead end. This path is going to lead to a dead end. This path is going to lead to a dead end. This path is going to lead to a dead end. This path is going to lead to a dead end. I'm just giving you a very simple explanation of this. You can read about what is a combinatorial explosion, right? Where there are so many variables that it becomes impossible for us to compute. It becomes impossible for us to compute. Sorry. Yeah. So the reality as it is combinatorially explosive. If we don't have a purpose for something, we are going to be lost. We are going to be lost in this. And we will have to try everything. Right? We will have to try this, we will have to try that, we will have to try that, we will have to try that. Right? The reality is combinatorially explosive. There is infinite amount of information in the world that our minds can't capture. Like even if the best computers combined can't capture all the information that is in our real world, right? Like in these bottles, there are hundreds of trillions and trillions and trillions of atoms and molecules, right? All the electrons, all the quarks, all the subatomic particles are working in their own way. They are working and they do have a relationship. This is the reason that this bottle is, not collapsing down. This is the reason that this bottle is like this. But we can never understand the relationship. We can never understand how they relate to each other. Reality is too complex for us to understand. This is the reason human beings since the beginning of time have always made things like religion, stories, mythology, culture, laws, rules, regulations. Okay. Let's take the same example. If you were Mowgli, right? Mowgli from the Jungle Book, or if you were Tarzan, and if you were left in the jungle on your own with no guidance whatsoever, with no understanding of life, with no process to follow, with no path to walk on, what will you do? Let's say that even if you get food, right? Let's say that nobody kills you, no other animal hunts you down, right? Let's say that no other animal hunts you down, nobody kills you. So what are you going to do? You're just going to eat and sleep for your entire life. You're still going to be conscious. You're still going to have questions, right? You're still going to have questions like, why am I here alone? Where is everybody else? Why I can't see anything like me? Why am I so aware of myself? Why am I dreaming? Why can I remember the past? How can I think about the future? Can all animals think about the future? Can trees think about the future? Can trees think about the past? Do trees have brains? How do trees eat? Right? Like, is this snake poisonous? Is this snake not poisonous? Like, there's so much things that you need to understand, right? You're always going to be in a state of anxiety because you are not going to understand anything. In the same way, there is a process called as hero's journey. And hero's journey, this is a process, like which was developed by Joseph Campbell. And this is Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And there are a couple of other books, same like this. So what happens is Joseph Campbell has developed kind of a process or kind of an architecture, kind of a path that you can follow for self transformation, to go from S1 to S2, to go from self 1, where you are right now, right, to self 2, where you want to be right now, to go from self 1, who you are right now, to self 2, who do you want to become right now. So that is the hero's journey. So the hero's journey is a map or the model of human life, or the reality that we live in, the social, cultural, psychological, metaphysical reality that is, that is based on our past, that is based on our evolution, that is based on the stories, that is based on the way we have evolved so far. So he has created this structure, which is called as a hero's journey, right? Now, this is not a structure that needs to be followed to the T, right? This is not a structure that needs to be followed like a mathematical formula. Sometimes you can jump from 1 to 5, sometimes you can jump from 5 to 8, sometimes you can't even go from 1 to 2, or it takes a long time to go from 2 to 3. So in reality, the lines are blurred, right? But understanding this is going to help you guide your own life. So it's a map that is designed to guide the hero in the journey into the unknown, right? Hero being you and me, like being we who are going to be a part of this course. And the journey is a journey of self-transformation, self-actualization, self-realization. So this is designed to guide the hero in the process of self-transcendence, self-actualization, personal development, so that he can walk on the journey, he can complete the entire journey with a sense of purpose, with a sense of meaning. He can complete the entire journey successfully and safely. Because if a hero goes into the unknown, goes into the chaotic world, and does not return, he is called as a fool, right? In the same way, if you try to develop a business and if you fail, people will call you, dude, you're not that guy, bro. You're not that guy. Dude, you should have known that by business teri cheez nahi hai, tere se nahi hoga. You would not be able to make this business work. But if you make it work, then only you are considered as a hero. Then only other people are going to be like, bro, I always knew that, man. I always knew that there was something inside of you. I saw that light inside of you. I knew that you were so amazing. I knew it. I always have seen it inside of you. So I'm so happy for you. So the hero needs to go into the journey safely and successfully return, right? So it's a process that serves a rough structure of what we need to do and how we need to achieve the self two that we talked about. If you want to go back right now, let me go back and show you what we talked about in self two. This is self one, where you are right now and who you are right now. And this is self two, where you want to be in future or life, or who you want to become in future or life. So this hero journey is designed in such a way that it can guide you from S1 to S2, from self 1 to self 2. For a modern man, woman, it is also the path to their own individuation, right? And now there is another term. What is individuation? We are going to talk about individuation shortly. Understanding individuation. So Carl Jung believed that each person is unique and has a distinct destiny. Now, it is not a destiny that is written on stone by some god, right? It is a destiny which is a byproduct of your own evolution, of your own personal evolution, the way you evolved in the world, the way you relate to the world, and you find new things about yourself and you find new things about the world, right? So the world is disclosing itself in front of you, and you are disclosing yourself in front of the world. And thus there is a feedback loop cycle from the world to you, then from you to the world, then from the world to you. There is a continuously feedback loop cycle from you to the world to you. This is how you evolve, This is how you evolve, that this is how you become better. And this is how you finally find your destiny. This is how you finally find what you are meant to do or what your purpose is, right? So Young believe that each person has a unique and distinct destiny. That is, each person has a unique ability, has a unique talent, has a unique capacity for doing something meaningful in life, right? For doing something great in life. Each person has its own highest potential. Each person has its own personal greatness, right? For somebody like Elon Musk, it can be, like being a billionaire. Like people like Jeff Bezos, it can be being a billionaire. For other people, it can just be, like owning a small business and making like 5 lakhs per month, 2 lakhs per month, right? Or for some people, it can be just be like, having a good enough job so that they can earn 80,000, 1 lakh, 1,50,000 rupees, and have a good enough family life, good enough social life, good enough hobbies, and, good enough relationship, romantic relationships. So it depends from person to person. There is no, like, it is not written in stone. Your purpose will keep on evolving as you evolve. As I have already told you, the more you grow, the more you will want to become, the more you will want to grow. The more you understand yourself, the more you will want to understand yourself. The more you learn, the more you will want to learn, right? The stronger you will be, the stronger you will become. The richer you are, the richer you will want to become. So everybody has a unique purpose, has a unique destiny, has a unique personal greatness, right? And it doesn't matter. Like, we don't have to like compare ourselves to people like Michael Jordan or Elon Musk or Mike Tyson or Sachin Tendulkar. Or we don't have to be like Modi. We don't have to be like, Trump or Benjamin Franklin. We can be our best selves, right? Which is good enough. So most of the Jungian psychology, also called as analytical psychology or depth psychology, centers on what Jung later calls the individuation process. The individuation process was Jung's way of explaining the path to optimal personal development for an individual, right? Jungian analyst Anthony Stevens write in Primitive Myths, individuation is a process, simple or complex, as the case may be, by which every living organism becomes what it was destined to become from the beginning. Now, again, the way Anthony Stevens writes, it implies that we have a pre-recorded destiny that we have to move towards. Now, again, we are going to take a nuanced, we are going to take a balanced perspective. We don't want to become, we don't want to fetishize this, we don't want to romanticize this, we don't want to fantasize about having, like ultimate destiny, right? And we also don't want to become a person who thinks that there is no meaning, there is no destiny in life, so just do whatever the fuck, because that will lead to depression, suicide, doing bad things in life, hurting yourself in the long run. So we have to come in the middle path, right? Not too much on the right path, not too much on the left path. We have to come in the middle path. We have to become balanced, right? So this purpose of yours, or this identity of yours, or this destiny that they are talking about, it is going to be disclosed slowly and gradually as you keep growing in life, right? You're not going to have one eureka movement, and your entire life is going to change. You're not going to have that one aha moment, that in one insight, that one trick, that one secret that you have been trying to learn, and your life will change completely after that. That is a lie. That is a lie that was built to sell you some more courses, right? That is not how it works. So individuation is the path to wholeness, right? Individuation is the path to optimal personal development. The purpose of individuation process is to increase the individual's consciousness, and it is also to increase your probability of becoming successful, of becoming more healthy, more mature, more stronger, more powerful. With greater consciousness, individuals can heal the splits in their mind between what's conscious and unconscious. We have already been talking about this. We are guided by our unconscious forces, right? Bringing them to wholeness in the psyche. So finally, you can become whole. You can become like the supercar in which everything has a purpose and everything is working together in an interrelated fashion. in an interdependent, synchronized way, right? You become a whole. You're not just a sum of different parts, but you are one part which is made up of a lot of different parts who are all working together. So this is the individuation process. We talked about in this is the the hero's journey for a modern man or woman. It is also the path of that individuation. So the hero journey is more real life thing. The hero journey is more about the reality of things, how you are supposed to act and behave in the world. And individuation process is more of a theoretical inner work, right? It's more of an inside work. It's more of the work that you do on yourself in the inside. So what we are going to do is you can understand the hero's journey as taking action and doing practicals, and you can understand the individuation process as conceptual or internal, right? Or understanding theory. And they both have to guide you. You can't just keep on taking action without having, solid theory or solid concepts, because then you are just going to be a person who is trying to break the wall by its punches. You are only going to die trying, right? So we need to have actions backed up by concepts, and we need to have concept backed up by feedback of reality, the way reality responds to us, what we experience, and what we learn from the reality. Now, Carl Jung and Jordan Peterson, I am going to keep all these things short because all these things are going to be in the course, in the mentorship course, right? So Carl Jung and Jordan Peterson, they both gave a kind of a structure of the psyche. So Jordan Peterson gave a structure of myth, stories, mythology, and Carl Jung gave the structure of the outer world, the self, sorry, the phenomenology of self or the structure of self, right? So the first thing, which is the outer world, right? In the outer world, you have things like, you know, curtains, you have things like t-shirt, you have things like laptop, walls, houses, cars, bikes, money, etc. This is outer world. The first thing that interacts with the outer world is your persona. It's your persona. So your persona interacts with the outer world. The persona is literally, you can understand, the persona is a character that you have built up inside your brain, right? Like a cartoon character that you have built up inside your brain, which you think is you, but which is not you. The persona is just like 1% of your entire being. So the persona is something that interacts with the world, right? And you are playing different personas all the time. When you're speaking to your boss, you're playing the persona or the role or the character. Understand the character, right? The small man in the head. You're playing the character of an employee, right? So you're going to be submissive and etc. If you're talking to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you're going to be the play the character of a life partner or a friend or a lover. If you're talking to your mom or dad, you're going to play the character of a son or a daughter. If you're talking to your siblings, you're going to play the character of, or siblings or your best friends, you're going to play a friendly character. If you're talking to your children, you're going to play a character of father, mother. If you're talking to your students or your clients, you're going to play a character of either a business person or either a coach or a teacher, etc. So this is the persona. This is the persona that we play in the world, right? That we show with the outer world, which is not our ego, because we don't always show our ego in the outer world. So beyond the persona comes our ego, right? Beyond the ego comes our shadow, and then beyond the shadow comes our anima animus. So all of these things together make the self, right? So the persona and your ego exist in your conscious brain. Let me draw so that you understand. So the persona and the ego, they exist in your conscious brain, right? This is your conscious mind. This is the place that you can become easily aware of. And then this is your personal unconscious, yourself. Then this is the collective unconscious. We are not going to go to the very deep inside this. We are just going to take things that are helpful for us, and that can help us guide our journey, and that can help us live our life better, right? And we are also going to talk a little bit about Jordan Peterson, the structure of the myth, right? So the great mother, the great father, the archetypical son, the positive side of it, the negative side of it, If this happens on the positive side, you get a hero, you get order, and you get creation. If this happens on a negative side, you get a villain, you get tyranny, and you get destruction. So this is the archetype of kind of society. So this all comes into the collective unconscious. Then we're going to move to the next. And inside of us, we also have 4 archetypes. We have king, warrior, magician, lover, right? So the king type of the king archetype, you can call the self that we have been talking about, the S2, who you want to become and where you want to be in life, right? You can say the king archetype is your God self, your ideal self, which you are always going to strive towards, right? You can say the king archetype is your best side, the best side of you, right? So what are archetypes? Archetypes are like the subparts of our self, right? And when I say self, I mean this self, subparts of our self. They are virtual engines that drive our life. The individuation process, the hero's journey, and the 4 masculine archetypes together can guide your journey in personal development, in becoming your highest self, right? So, king, warrior, magician, lover. Magician, you can also use magician as analyst. So you can also say, instead of magician, you can use the word analyst. So let's talk about the lover part of it, and I'm going to keep it short. The lover part of it is something that deals with emotions. The lover archetype helps us kind of go out into the outer world and enjoy the beauty of the outer world, right? Enjoy the fun, do things that we enjoy, like hobbies, like painting. Painting doesn't come from the magician or the warrior, it comes from the lover, it comes from emotions. Building relationships, you know, with either it is romantic or either it is work related or either it is, you know, like friendly relationship, or either it is a relationship as a as you as a son, or you as a father or a mother, or you as a daughter, anything. So all of these things come in lover. So lover, if your lover side is weak, or if you're not in touch with your lover side, you are going to get problems like, bro, I don't have any friends, I am very lonely, I need to learn pickup, I need to learn dating, I need to learn game to get some friends. They all come into the lover side. If your lover side is too strong, then you are going to become kind of a sex addict or a love addict. You're going to become a mama's boy. You're always going to want attention. So you are going to become a nice guy, right? Nice guy as the guy, what was his name, right? No more Miss Nice Guy. Yeah, Dr. Robert Glover. The way Robert Glover uses the term nice guy, you are going to become mama's boy. You are going to become nice guys. You'll always keep chasing approval from other people. If your lover side is too strong, right? You'll always keep chasing approval and validation from women. You'll always keep, chasing love, intimacy from women, and you'll become basically a nice guy, a simp, right? If the lover side is too weak, then you're going to become an impotent lover. Impotent lover, that means a dreamer, that means somebody who is thinking about having all the relationships, having all the fun, having all the women, having all the friends, having all the fun and excitement and enjoyment in life, but in reality his real life is boring as fuck, right? He is dead from the inside. He is like a zombie. He has become emotionless. He has become too mechanical. He has lost the spark in his eyes. He has lost the soul, right? So this is what you're going to become if your lover archetype is too weak. Now let's talk about the magician side. So if your magician side is too strong, you're going to become a manipulator, a trickster, right? Always thinking about how can I manipulate the world? How can I manipulate life? How can I manipulate other people to get what I want? You're going to lie, you're going to cheat, you're going to do everything to manipulate other people, to trick other people in getting what you want, which is a bad side, right? Which is a bad thing to be. If your magician side or analyst side is too weak, then you're going to become the innocent one. You're going to become the dummy. everybody is going to, like, make fun of you. You'll not be able to do anything in life. You'll not be able to kind of achieve any complex tasks or complex purpose or complex goals, right? You are going to study a lot. You're going to study and read a lot of books, but you'll not be able to put any of those things in action, right? When your magician side is too weak, you'll also not be able to operate from your logical brain or your rational brain. You're not going to be rational where rationality is required, right? Now let's talk about the warrior side. If the warrior side is too strong, then you're going to become the sadist, the bully. You will start enjoying hurting other people, right? You will start enjoying violence. You'll start enjoying doing something wrong or bad to other people, right? So you're going to become a bully, a sadist. You will kill everything that you touch, right? You will kind of become like the Hulk without any control, right? You will even kill things that you love. And if your warrior side is too weak, you are going to become a coward or masochist. You are always going to hurt yourself. You are going to become too passive. You are going to become, too slow in life. You're not going to be decisive. You're not going to be assertive, right? If your masochist side is too weak, if your warrior side, I'm sorry, if your warrior side is too weak, then you're going to become, like, again, the kind of impotent coward, like a scared little guy kind of archetype, right? You understand the kind of scared little type of a person. So let's talk about final, the king part. If your king is very powerful or too strong, you're again going to become a tyrant, right? Like, for example, King Jong Un, or Hitler. You are going to become a tyrant, right? Or if like, now though that is the extreme example, you can relate to it in such a way that if you have a father, or if you have a guy, or if you have a person in your family who is, who is powerful, but he is also very abusive. He is also, you know like a dad who is always pointing fingers, who's always trying to find blame, who's always trying to find a weakness, right? Who's always saying something bad onto you. He has become a tyrant, right? He is like a king, but he's too strong, he's too decisive. He's too aggressive, he's too assertive, he does not allow you to live your life. He is too controlling. So you'll become a tyrant. You'll become a tyrant that everybody is going to hate. If your king child is too weak, then you're going to become the weakling. You're going to become the kind of guy who, is beaten by his wife, who is made fun of by all his friends. Nobody respects him, everybody uses him, everybody kind of throws him in the ground, right? So if you kind of become a tyrant, you'll become the kind of person who beats his wife, who beats his friend, who beats his children a lot, who tries to manipulate, who tries to break down everything that he doesn't like. And again, if you become too negative on the king side, on the king energy, then you're going to become passive. You're going to become like a soy boy. You are again going to become like a simp who can't stand for himself or herself, and all of these things. So usually what happens, if one of your side is weak, all the other sides are going to be weak. If your lover side is weak, then the chances of your analyst or magician side, or warrior side, or king side being weak is very high. So we are going to talk about the four masculine archetypes in detail in the entire course, and how to, how to practically take action in order to get all of these things right, in order to balance them, right? So you don't want to become a shadow version. Like, shadow means two shadows, right? A negative shadow and a positive shadow. We don't want to become too positive or too strong. We don't want to become too negative or too weak, right? We don't want to go too much left or too much right. We want to be in the middle. We want to balance the lover, not too negative, not too positive. We want to balance the magician, not too negative, not too positive. We want to balance the warrior, not too negative, not too positive. And we want to balance the king, not too much negative, not too much positive. How are we going to do that? We're going to learn in the course. Finally, this course is about becoming your best self, your most balanced self, your individuated self. This will help you guide you in your journey of personal development and self transformation and self mastery. In whatever you want to succeed, be it dating, social life, relationships, career, creativity, and purpose, finding meaning, becoming a good person, becoming more successful, becoming more powerful, this course is going to help you in that. Oh, I'm sorry. We are also going to talk about meditation, right? We are also going to talk about Vipassana meditation. So there is a kind of meditation in Vipassana which is called as Anapana. We're going to talk about Anapana meditation as it is taught in Vipassana. We are also going to understand and talk about and learn how to properly write journals, how to write properly, right? How to properly write your journal and how to properly write your goals. You will learn how to work on and improve your self image, improve your self confidence, understand your ego better, or understand your identity and your persona better, how to improve your belief systems, how to improve your character. We are going to learn all of that in the course. This course is going to be 3 months long, 12 sessions each. Right? I will try not to make the course very complicated and I will try to go slow. Since we only have 3 months of time, we can't really go very slow. We have to kind of be at a certain pace throughout the course. But this course is going to be 3 months long. Every session will have a context or a theme according to which you will be giving some real life exercises, maybe some written exercises, or any kind of mental exercises to do. Be it written exercises or real world exercises. Every day we are going to have, every week once we are going to have the session, and according to the theme of the session, you will be given the exercises. For any doubts, queries, and questions, you can call me, you can text me any day other than the day of the session, right? You can call me or text me at other days of the week for doubts, for queries, for questions, for more clarity on some topics. And when you call me, we can have a one-on-one conversation. This mentorship is going to be a group mentorship, and you'll be given all the resources from which I learned. When I am going to finish this, and as I'm going to progress the course, I'm going to give you all the resources from where I learned. I'm going to give you the names of all the people that I read. And if you want to do your own research, if you are interested in like learning on your own and doing things on your own, then you can do that. It will be, all the recordings are also going to be given to you in the downloadable form, right? You will get all the PDF, you'll get all the material, and you'll have the group, the king within group, so that you can also talk to other people and look and learn from their journey, right? And support each other, and then build a community of men who are highly successful, who are highly balanced, who are highly mature, who are highly strong from inside, who understand themselves, right? So let's build the community of individuated strong men. Let's build a community of a very powerful personal development group. And this course is going to be the start of all of that. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have any more questions, or if you want to get on a call with me, or if you want to join the mentorship, DM me, text me, call me. That is how you can reach me. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.